Ginger had $4,000 to invest. She invested some money in a savings account earning 5% annual interest, and the rest was invested in a money market account earning 12% annual interest. If the total interest earned for the year was $375, how much was invested at each rate? I want to try to write some equations to help me with this problem. I can see that she's getting interest from two accounts. So interest from account 1 plus interest from account 2 is going to give her the $375. And I also know that interest equals the simple interest that we're doing here, principal times rate times time. And so for interest 1, I can look at her first account and do principal principal times rate times time. I know her rate is 5%. That's good. The principal, I don't know, so I'm just going to give it a variable, x, and then the rate will be 0.05. Convert that 5% into a decimal, and then time, it's for the year, so the year is going to be 1. When I rewrite all this, I might put it as 0.05x, because that looks a lot more normal for me in an equation. So that's the interest one, so that's 0.05x. And then I need to think about interest 2, and that's going to be some principal amount, which I don't know for sure what that principal amount is, and I don't know that it was the same amount that we used in account 1, so I'll use a different variable just to make sure that I can have two different amounts. Like I could have 1,000 in one and 3,000 in the other. Yeah, so that's why I'm doing that. And that second account was at 12% annual interest, so that will be 0.12 as a decimal, and still times that 1 year that we're talking about. And then if I rewrite, that'll be 0.12y. That's for account 2. So 0.12 times however much was invested in account 2 is going to give us the $375. Now I need one more equation, and that equation is going to tell me how much money was invested total. And because this is showing me just the interest calculations, but I know she had $4,000 to invest. Part of it went to one account, part went to the other. And if I add up how much was in one account and how much was in the other account, it should come to 4,000. So I should say x plus y equals 4,000. And that gives me a system of linear equations that I can solve for this problem. My x is the amount of money that was invested in account 1. My y is the amount of money that was invested in account 2. And it's really helpful for me to keep them in the same order as I write my equations, because then I can tell when I get to the solution which one I was talking about. To solve a system like this, I'm looking at all of the variables, and I see that I have a couple of variables in this last equation that don't have coefficients. They don't have a number being multiplied by the variables. So that tells me this would be a really good equation to solve for one of those two variables and then use that substitution method. I think it'll be the quickest here. So I'm thinking, let's just solve for x. So to do that, I'll subtract y from both sides. And then I have x equals 4,000 minus y. Now I have a new system, and I'm going to rewrite it just because it helps me think. And my system is now x equals 4,000 minus y for the second equation, and the first equation is unchanged. But at this point, I can see the substitution method. Take this amount for the x, because x is equivalent to this amount, plug it into the first equation where you see the x. So that's going to give me 0.05 times the 4,000 minus y that I stuck in there for the x. I haven't done any substitution for the y, so I still have 0.12y equals 375. And now I would like to distribute this 0.05 inside the parentheses, and 0.05 times 4,000 gives 200, minus 0.05y plus 0.12y equals 375. I would like to combine these two because they are like terms, so I just need to take negative 0.05 plus 0.12 and I get 0.07y. And I have a 200 here and a 375 here. I would like to move the 200 to the right hand side so I can combine those terms that are both constants or whole numbers, and I get 0.07y equals 375 minus 200 is 175. And the last step for me would be to divide by 0.07 to get that y by itself. And I'll do that on my calculator. 175 divided by 0.07. I get 2,500. So y equals 2,500. That means that I invested $2,500 into the account that was the money market earning 12% interest. So if I did that, then my x, I'm going to use this equation here. X equals 4,000 minus y. So x equals 4,000 minus 2,500. That means x equals 1,500. Now we are talking about money because we are talking about how much money was invested in each account. So I would like to write out my answer so that it's very clear what I came up with. And I have a 5% account, $1,500, because I can see here this 0.05 times x. That means x is the variable that's holding the amount of money I invested in the account with 5% interest. And then the 12% interest has the $2,500. And that shows that my total invested is $4,000. So all of that together I can use as my solution because that's going to show specifically how much money was invested in each account and then also what the total amount that was invested is.